Welcome to another connection here on TKO8 Television. I'm Dennis King. Thanks for joining us on our show this week. We do appreciate you coming into our studio each week as we have different organizations and different people come in to talk about what's important around our viewing area, and we do appreciate you being here. Stay with us. Be back in a moment. We're going to talk with two young ladies from the Boone County Library. It's always a busy place, and they've got a lot of things going on in the month of April.
Even the best of us make mistakes, so when trouble finds you, trust Campbell Bonding Company to help you through what can be a confusing and sometimes frightening experience. Jim, Robert, and Cole Campbell work as a family to offer your family understanding and compassion during a very difficult time. Campbell Bonding Company can help get your family back together quickly and confidentially. And in every step of the process, they're there for you. In times of trouble, let their family help your family. Campbell Bonding Company, 870-741-1138.
Crystal clear mountain streams, river rapids, and rolling hills with endless valleys. The beauty of the Ozarks we often take for granted. At Magnus Toyota, we never underestimate the value of our customers. As a third-generation family-owned business, Magnus Toyota has been operating here in the Ozarks for over 50 years. When we make a new deal, we make a new friend. Stop in and visit us today and see why our customers say we're the best. Magnus Toyota, your hometown Toyota dealer on Highway 65 North in Harrison.
Back on Connection here on TKO8 Television. Our guest in the studios today, no strangers. Even Katie Blessing has been here. This is the second time she came in off of her day off to help you. Ginger Milan, thank you so much for coming in. The Boone County Library, I always have these ladies come in and I say, okay, you don't need to send me any questions because I just say, what's happening? And then it goes from there, doesn't it, Ginger?
Yes, it does. It does.
So you do have a lot. I'm going to let you both of you have things going, so
yes.
You just take off.
Okay. Well, this is National Library Week. We celebrate that every year, and you can come in for some special events for children upstairs. We also will be giving away popcorn and free drinks on Friday. And the Friends of the Library always have their annual spring sale this week. So you don't want to miss that. That's a great book sale. And this year, in addition to books, they are going to sell the remainder of the Norman Rockwell Saturday Evening Post covers. They sold many of them back in December, and so what's left we have hanging in the mezzanine. So if that's something that interests you, you can come by, and you can buy that early, actually. But the Friends of the Library book sale starts Thursday. You can join Friends of the Library this week, and if you're a member, you get to go to the members-only sale that starts on Thursday morning.
Let me ask you just a quick question. For those of you out there in the viewing audience that may not know, the Friends of the Library are a huge, huge support arm of the Boone County Library. In fact, without the Friends of the Library, they would not be able to do a lot of things at the library that you do. Those people put a lot of hours in, voluntary hours in, to help generate additional funds through their book sales and through all the things that they support. I just want to kick that in because I know a lot of those people, and we've always supported the Friends of the Library and been one of our sponsors for them, and they do a tremendous job. They really do.
They
supporting
do.
you.
They do. In fact, if you're in the library a lot, it's hard to tell who's an employee and who is a member of Friends of the Library because they are there every day. You can donate your books, and they will put those in the sale, and they raise thousands of dollars for us every year.
Great organization.
Yes, it is. We also have some other monthly events that take place. We have, of course, our book clubs that meet every month. We've started a new program, adult coloring. And it's amazing to see all ages and types of people come in and sit down and pick out what they want to color. I don't know if you've tried adult coloring, but those books are fairly difficult.
I don't even do a real good job with a stick person. Yeah. So probably that'd be out for me.
Well, I really need the numbers to tell me what colors to use.
To color my numbers, yeah.
That's the second Wednesday of each month at 1 o'clock in the library. Another thing that we have monthly is the Buffalo National River Partners program, and this month we're very excited to have Farron Ussery. He is a biologist with the National Park Service, and he has coordinated and worked so hard to develop 2 resource learning centers at 2 sites on the Buffalo National River.
Wow.
He's working with colleges and universities. He's got high school science teachers on board. It would be a great place to go and not just sit in a classroom, but actually get to go out and do real science. So he's going to present that program April 26th at 5:30. He was scheduled in January and was not able to do it because of illness, so we're really excited to have him come back.
Fantastic. We're speaking of Buffalo National River, of course, a lot of people, obviously, in this area and from around the world, come into the Buffalo National River. Where the locations where they thinking about doing this?
Well, they already have them up and running.
Oh, they do?
They're still working on them. The first one is at Tony Bend, which is near Buffalo Point at the lower end of the river. And then the other one is at Steel Creek in the upper part of the river, and they're working on housing, bunkhouses, and just getting a lot of support for that. Science is more than just sitting in a classroom.
It is.
So,
I love it.
we also have April, we always celebrate Earth Day, which is April the 22nd. The Children's Department all month will be doing Earth Day related activities. We have a program April the 19th at 5:30. Tina McCracken, who is a talented seamstress and crafter, is coming in, and she's going to help everyone make their own reusable produce bags. Instead of all that plastic at the grocery store or at the farmer's market or at the various farm stands, you can take your produce bag with you, fill it up, take it home, store everything in the refrigerator in it. You can wash it and reuse it.
That's a good idea. I think we probably don't do enough when it comes to conservation and looking at years down the road. With the next generation, the generation after that, a lot of plastic out there going to these landfills, boy.
And in the ocean.
In the ocean.
I read I think it was 2030 or maybe 2050, there'll be more plastic in the ocean than marine life.
Wow, that's a sad thing.
It is sad.
Very sad. So are we going to let Katie?
I'm sorry.
Katie took her day off to come in.
I'm done.
Katie Blessing. Katie, now you do the teen programs and some other stuff, so let's talk about, I know you've got a lot of activities going on.
Oh yeah, we've got activities going on every Tuesday at 3:45 for tweens and teens ages 9 to 19. For April 19th, we're actually going to show a movie and have snacks. We're going to show a really great film called Ponyo, which is great for all ages. And then April 26th, we've got our Young Adult Book Club. For that, all you have to do is come into the library, go to our front desk and ask for the Young Adult Book Club book, and they will give you our book for this month, which is Things Not Seen. And then read it, come in, we'll have a snack and a short discussion. It's a really great time.
Wow.
Yep. And then April 30th, we have a special event, our Saturday day hike with the Buffalo National River. Now we're going to go to Indian Rock House, and the Buffalo National River partners have been nice enough to provide transportation for us. We are going to take a van and go out there. We should leave at around 8:30 and we'll be back around 4. Now this hike is going to be pretty strenuous, so you'll need to bring sturdy shoes and make sure you pack some water and a lunch.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
Am I too old for that as a teenager?
Oh no, everyone is welcome to come with us.
Just kidding. The teenage programs that you are doing at the library, do you see more, what age group do you get more enthusiastic participants out of, I guess I should say?
We get all ages, but we get a lot more from like age 11 to age 16.
Okay, that seems to be that you get more excitement in that age group. Yeah,
definitely.
That sounds like it. What else we got going down there? Let's see here. And I've got a whole list of stuff here. I know, Ginger, have we covered it? I think I know more about this than sometimes than I should know about it. One thing we want to mention about the library, and I always try to mention this because if you're out there in a viewing audience, if you haven't been to the Boone County Library, it's not just a place where there's lots of books. In fact, anymore, the electronic age has brought computers into the picture, and now you can go to the Boone County Library. They have workstations. You can sit there. You can use their computers. Let's say if you need to do a resume, or you need to look up, maybe you're doing some type of a project or something, or you need to look up things about government, or perhaps taxes. Unfortunately, tax season is right here. You better get them in on time. Do you have tax forms down there?
We do. We do.
Okay.
You better hurry. I didn't mention the DAV. They have started representatives of the DAV are in our library every Thursday from 10 o'clock to 4 o'clock to help veterans in any way that they can. They're a nonprofit group. They do great things, and last Thursday there were several people waiting to talk to the gentlemen who are there to help.
Well, that's fantastic. I had a situation with a vet here in the community that was a homeless vet, and found out about him. And anyway, long story short, when I got into the situation and tried to find the right agencies to help this person, not only find lodging, but get on the food SNAP program, to get medical, and then get into the VA thing, it was very complicated for me. And I can't imagine why this individual was probably still sleeping on the street, because it was too complicated. It's great to have people like the DAV going into a public place, setting up where they can go down there, and if you're a veteran, you go in, sit down, the right people are there to help you go through the maze of governmental
And that's exactly what they do.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. And the more organizations that utilize the library, because it's so convenient, right downtown. You got a lot of space, and they've got all the necessary things you need, again, with the computer systems and stuff there, that they can supplement these organizations.
That's right.
So, I think that's very important. And what else? We got a couple of minutes?
I would mention that new elevator. I talked to a lady yesterday about a program, and she goes, well, I don't know if I can come because your elevator's out. And I was happy to say, no ma'am, our new elevator is up and working perfectly. And we want to thank all those people who helped with that. We had donations. People leave money to the library in their wills, and we save that money for special projects like that. Friends of the Library gave us $5,000. And it took almost a month to install. So it's a great thing to have it up and going.
It really is, because, with the library's multiple levels situation, people that can't get up and down the steps or stairs, if you will, it makes it very difficult. So this is something, I'm sure that was the original elevator.
It was.
That was in So it was upgrading of the old to the new. So
mid-century.
Mid-century, yes. Did we cover everything pretty well? Katie, thank you for coming in on your day off and bringing some good news to us. You're doing a great job down there, and it's nice to have a young person like Katie involved, and she went to college to do this, and she's, I'm sure, keeps a lot of enthusiasm going. And to keep teens going, you got to stay enthusiastic. I know, you got to keep the finger on the pulse to keep it going. And of course, Ginger, you do a great job down there, and we appreciate you. We, as always, go support the Boone County Library. If you have not been there, it's your own fault. You should go in and just check it out. Go in. All these people, they know everything, and they're such nice people down there. You got volunteers and you got the paid staff, and they're always there to help you. So utilize your library. It's your library. It's right here in Boone County. We're lucky. Many counties do not have a library like we have here. Ginger, thank you so much. Katie, thank you for coming in today. We appreciate it. Keep us posted. So
we will.
Next month or so, whenever you got something big, holler at us. Maybe next time you won't have to come in on your day. Thanks for joining us on the first half of the show. Stay with us. We'll be back in a moment. We're going to talk with Boone County Sheriff Mike Moore about the tax situation coming up very soon.
We all need the help of a pharmacy from time to time. Sullivan Pharmacy would like to thank all their customers for supporting them as an independent local pharmacy. When you trade with an independent pharmacy, you deal with an owner that supports the local economy and charities. Visit Sullivan Pharmacy for any of your over-the-counter or prescription needs. It's important to keep helping those that help the community. Sullivan Pharmacy, 731 Main Street, Harrison, serving this area since 1965.
Spring has already started at Sisters Flower and Gift Shop. The ladies at Sisters have created some beautiful spring floral arrangements, and new home accent items are arriving daily. You'll also find a great selection of centerpieces, unique birdhouses, wall decor, and many other great gift items. Come by and check out the many Razorback items on display. From handcrafted metalware, dinnerware, serving pieces, tabletop items, and cooking utensils, Sisters has just the right item for any occasion. Catch the spring fever at Sisters Flower and Gift Shop. We are so much more than flowers.
Back on Connection here on TKO8 Television. Dennis King, thanks for joining us on our show today. Our second guest in the studio is Boone County Sheriff Mike Moore. Mike, thanks for coming in. Your busy schedule. We appreciate you coming in today.
It's good to be here.
The reason I wanted you to come in, Mike, is a situation that we're in right now, which is coming up in November in the election. For those of you out there that live in Boone County, is the sunset of the 0.25% sales tax, which built and maintained and continues to maintain our jail here in Boone County. And that's coming up for the taxpayers to make another decision on. It started in 06 where we built the jail, and I think the sunset clause was a good thing because it gave us a end of the tunnel type thing, but at the end of the tunnel, then you still got the maintenance and upkeep of the facility, and that's kind of what we're running into now, isn't it, Mike?
Right. And the election of that tax is actually going to be in August this year.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I knew they changed that. That's right, August.
And just real quick, the reason for that, it has to be passed so many days before it expires.
Otherwise, you lose that.
We'd lose the revenue. Back when we passed the tax, I believe the intent and that it would always be around. We didn't put it on a sunset in 10 years because we thought we wouldn't need it after 10 years. We put it on a 10-year sunset just to have some accountability with the community and just give them that option. Of course, it's so needed, it's so important to the operation of our whole communities, law enforcement. It's just so very important that we get that passed again.
Mike, just to kind of revert back, if you will, the old jail, for those of you remember the old jail that we had off the bypass for years, was about a 36 bed jail? Is that correct?
That's
Mike?
Correct.
And obviously the situation is the county is responsible for the prisoners that they take in that county. So either you have to put those prisoners in your own facility, or you've got to pay some other facility in some other county. You're required by law. You can't just let them go. So you've got to pay so much a day to house them somewhere else. Is that correct?
That's right.
And what are we at in our new facility? How many beds do you have?
We have 104 beds, which seems like a lot coming from a 36 bed jail. The problem with that, or not really a problem, but we need to understand that we can be completely full, at around 80 or 85 inmates, and the reason for that is part of the section of the jail is for females only. So if we have one female, then there's 25 beds that's taken up because we can't mix. If we didn't have any female prisoners, we could use that and we could have 104 folks there. But most of the time we stay under 100. Now we've got to 100 before, and we've just been run over with inmates, and at some point we have to stop and we have to refuse prisoners, and we don't like doing that. We don't like telling our community no when they bring a prisoner there, but we're obligated by the Constitution to provide a certain amount of space for each prisoner, and so we can't violate their constitutional rights by being over full. So we're very careful about that. Managing the jail and managing those folks and helping them find bondsmen, giving them that bondsman list. There's a lot of things we can try to do to help them, but the bottom line is we have folks who need to be incarcerated, and it's important that we keep this tax going. It's not a new tax, and we need to emphasize that. It's the same tax that we've had, and it's so important that we keep that to maintain the the quality of law enforcement and incarceration that we have right now. If it doesn't pass, it could be disastrous for the whole community, not just for the sheriff's department, not just for this jail, but the whole community could suffer.
It really is a security situation, and people may not think of it as that, but it really is a security situation for our county. Is the way I look at it. It's security. The one thing that maybe those in the viewing audience may not understand is that the 0.25% sales tax, it's 0.25% sales tax. Sales tax is everybody. In other words, people that live in the county, in the cities within the county, or people that go through that purchase products are sharing in the operational duties of our jail, which is the easiest way to do it and probably the best way to do it. One thing that we talked about is that if something happens that this sales tax does not pass, you've got a couple of things that's going to happen, and none of them are going to be real good. First of all, we do have an obligation to have a facility. If you cut back on the size of it and cut back on the number of people, then you got to go somewhere else with those. Part of the Constitution, obviously, so we've got to pay another county, and most of the counties around us are having the same issues. Right. They're overcrowded. Right. Newton County has had the problem. Marion County's having a big problem right now. Carroll's got a pretty good sized facility, but they're staying maxed out. So then what do you pay? $35, $45, $50 a day, whatever it is at that time, to house these inmates that come from your county, which can be a sizable amount of money over a 12-month period of time.
Yes, absolutely.
And so it's very important for people to understand that the sales tax is already there. 0.25% sales tax is there. We're all sharing in it, along with people that are not even residents of the county. Does it take about what's it take to operate our jail facility now in a year's period of time?
The jail budget is right around $1 million a year, and the 0.25% jail sales tax takes in about 1.3, and that has gradually gone up over the years to meet the need of maintaining the jail, and hopefully it'll continue. And like you said, sales tax is by far the most fair tax that there is out there, because everybody shares in it. You only pay a portion of the tax of the amount of money that you're spending, so it's not prejudiced toward any certain folks. Say like a property tax. Property taxes, the more property you own, the more you're penalized, seems like, and that's one of the reasons that we went for a sales tax to begin with, because we thought it was the most fair. And so and I really think that people will pass it. I think that the community understands, that it's so important to have a facility that we have. When we built the facility, we thought that would last us, 10, 15 years before we'd have to even think about adding on. But then Arkansas passed Act 570, which put more people in prison on probation and parole. It did a lot of things. The bottom line is it filled our prisons up very quickly. And at one point we had over 2,500 folks in county jails across the state waiting to go to the penitentiary. And they have improved on that, and they're doing things to try to make that better. But what it did is it put a real burden on all the county jails. And so we've been full for, ever since I've been in office, we've been full.
Wow.
And so, at some point we probably need to think about adding on another pod that'll hold another 25, 30 inmates. When we built the jail, we made provisions for that as far as ease of building onto. We have some money put back for that purpose. We don't have enough, I don't think, at this point. But at some point, we'll probably need to add on.
You just hit on the point there, Mike, is that for those of you that may not understand this, the ordinance that is written, the way it is written, this 0.25% sales tax money is designated for the law enforcement center and operation of that center. It cannot be used for anything else. It's put in a reserve fund, and as Mike just mentioned, in the future, if that reserve fund, if they don't use it all and they can build up a reserve fund and they needed to build another pod, they would have some reserve money, because the general operations of the county, that money is totally separate. for roads, for administration, for other fees. Am I correct in that, Mike?
Yes, absolutely.
So the people out there, if they say, well, 1/4% sales tax, and what are they going to do with it? They're just going to spend more money. Well, all that 1/4% sales tax is going to be used for the law enforcement center and for operations of the center. So they can, they don't have to worry about, it's not going to be moved around.
Right.
I mean,
it's
I guess
for law enforcement purposes.
it's for
only.
for that purpose only. And really, the way the ordinance is written, that's the way it's got to be. That's the way it's set. Once the taxpayers vote on something with an ordinance written like that, that's the way it is. It cannot be changed until that. If, let's say at the end of the sunset, if they want to rewrite an ordinance to say something different, they could at that time.
Yes,
is that correct?
Absolutely right.
So, well, the main thing I think, and the reason I wanted to have you come in today is there's kind of some misconceptions out there about the 1/4% sales tax, and it is very important. If it hasn't put you in a situation so far over the last 10 years, it's not going to affect you anymore over the next 10 years. And again, at the end of that period, who knows what will happen. But at least we will have a facility that is capable of handling the needs of our county, at least at this point. And if it needs to be that you need to add on, at least you've got some reserve money that you don't have to go back and say, hey, we need another $1 million or something if you've saved up that much on the side. So.
Right. And there is absolutely no intention of ever coming back to ask for more.
Right.
It's just we'd like to maintain what we have, and as far as the sales tax goes, so we can maintain our facility, we can keep it running, and then every year we can keep some back to help build on at some point.
A lot of people may not really realize, and you brought up a good point, Mike, about the legislature when they changed the law and started putting more people in the prison system. The overload happened that
overnight.
fast, and it really did cross the state. I mean, every time you read a issue in a newspaper or you hear it on television about what's going on in our prison systems, it has become a real problem. And now they're trying to struggle and figure out, okay, where can we build more prisons? What's it going to cost, and where are they going to put them, and so forth. Until that time, the backlog still comes to the county jails.
Right. Some of the folks that get like a 6-month parole violation, they'll wind up spending their whole 6 months in our county jail. They never go to prison. I'm not sure what the answer is. Part of the answer is going to be relying on the state government to come up with some different avenues for these folks. But until they do, we're tasked with that burden, and so we're going to do what we can to just try to make everybody happy.
Absolutely. Might give them a date on this election again for those.
Well, it's in August. I'm not sure if I even know
Well, I guess actually Quorum Court meets tomorrow night. I guess they'll be deciding on the exact date.
Yes.
But it will be in August. We'll have Mike back in again before then, and maybe Robert Hathaway, county judge, come in with Mike next time and talk about what's going on there and keep you up to date on it. But just keep in mind that 1/4% sales tax to keep the jail going and keep it moving forward is very important, so don't let it go. One quick thing on the bright side, when's that golf tournament coming up? You got that?
That is May 7th.
May 7th.
And we're going to be having it at Diamond City Country Club this year, and it's going to be on a Saturday.
Okay.
So hopefully some folks will be able to play that haven't been able to play before. We've typically had it on a Monday,
right?
But we've moved it there, and this is just a great tournament. It's going to be a fun tournament. The proceeds are split between the County Reserve, Boone County Sheriff's Reserve Association, and some local charities. And it's a blast, and it's for a great cause, and we want to invite everybody to come out and play golf with us on Saturday. We'll have a big time. We'll feed you. I guarantee you're going to score good.
Mike? You know that
it's $150 a team, two-man scramble.
Two-man scramble, that's great.
And we like two-man scrambles. They tend to move a little faster than the four-man.
That'll be a lot of fun.
And we have a lot of stuff planned for that day, so it should be a lot of fun.
Great. Well, we'll look forward to seeing you there. I'm sure that's always a fun event. 4th annual event, by the way. Glad to have Boone County Sheriff Mike Moore come in to talk to us today about the very important 1/4% sales tax will be coming up to vote on in August. We'll have him back in before then to give you some specifics, and you'll hear a lot more about it. Mike, thank you so much. Great job. Keep it up.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us on Connection today.
Local television worth watching. KTKO Channel 8, Harrison.